We're just gonna get straight into it. I've been genuinely really enjoying playing Tears of Themis lately. Like, just casually playing it for on and off recording. It's been really, really nice to just try something different. And with regards to languages, a lot of you were saying Japanese is really good. So I think what I'm going to do to try, so I can experience all of them, I'm going to change the language once per chapter. So once we've completed chapter 1, I'll move on to a different language and we'll go from there. And then once I have a bit of a better understanding of what the voice actors sound like in all the languages, then I'll decide which one I like the most and then we'll go from there. But I think that's a really good way for me to, you know, experience it at its core, shall we say. So, Winnie takes off the blood pressure monitor off Vernon's arm and puts it away.
欣然呐，不要担心我了。
Winnie, there's no need to worry about me.
餐厅卫生不行，让顾客吃出了毛病，这是实打实的事儿。你叫了侦探来查，也翻不了案了。
My customers got food poisoning after eating at my restaurant. Hiring a detective won't change this fact.
哎，还是跟爷爷说说你上学的事儿吧。什么时候开学呀
Come, tell me about school. When does the next semester start? While reviewing the measurement history on the blood pressure monitor, Winnie's hand stops. She turns towards Vernon, eyes slightly teary.
方爷爷，您
Grandpa Vern,
您是不是瞒了事了？
are you trying to hide something?
什么瞒了事？欣然，爷爷听不懂你说什么。
His health is declining, isn't it? Hide something? Winnie, I don't understand what you mean.
刚刚给您测的心跳、血压，都比前2天要好。
Your heart rate and blood pressure just now was better than the past few days.
刚才在楼下，您是故意的吧？故意装出难受的样子，只是不想回答他们的问题。
Were you pretending to be ill downstairs so you could avoid answering their questions?
欣然，我
Winnie,
您到底在瞒着什么啊？这次的事故，可是关系到餐厅能不能继续开下去啊！
What are you hiding? This incident could very well drive the restaurant out of business. Vernon is stunned for a moment, but then lets out a long sigh.
我也是没有办法呀。
I don't have a choice. Oh.
这事儿说来话长啊。
It's a long story. Luke's preliminary test results show that something isn't adding up with the fingerprints and the insecticide powder. Maybe Luke and Artem were right in suspecting that there is more to this food poisoning incident.
孤立地看每一个物证，都不能获得改变事故性质的绝对证据，但交叉对比后就会发现疑点。
Each piece of evidence by itself seems insidious. However, putting them all together tells another story. True. For instance, the insecticide that contaminated the spring water probably wasn't the bug out that Mr. Green bought. Bug out is an insecticide that isn't toxic to humans. Let me guess. The crystals on the water dispenser are a match with the insecticide 330.
没错，抽水器中的药粉明显含有对人体有害的成分，与我在网上查到的灭虫330的主要成分一致。
Sure is. I cross-checked online and the toxic chemicals detected in the crystals match those in insecticide 330. My current theory with regards to this case, I still think it was the guy that we met in the lobby because it looked like he was trying to stop Winnie, which means that he knew he was hiding something most likely. And the fact that he had issues with them in the past, it sounds like a good motive.
而且我拆分了
I
抽
could
水
be wrong.
器，在滤芯中发现了大量药粉残留。
I also took the dispenser apart and found a lot of chemical residue in the filter.
这也可以解释，为什么抽水器出水口位置会有药粉结晶了，因为药物浓度足够高了。
This explains why there's crystals present. The chemical concentration is alarmingly high. That means any water that went through the dispenser would get contaminated. This also means that it's nearly impossible to spill insecticide into the dispenser by accident, so the act was intentional.
那么，是否可以确定，顾客入院的原因就是食用了被污染的山泉水？
In that case, were the customers hospitalized because they consumed contaminated spring water? Let me think. Reviewing all the evidence we have should give us our answer. Okay, you've collected quite a number of clues. However, they don't mean much unless you find the connection between them. Here's the dilemma we need to solve in this analysis. So, are the customers' poisoning symptoms consistent with the poisoning symptoms of insecticide 330? Choose 2 clues from the following list that you believe are connected to solve the current dilemma. So, the contaminated spring water and the customer's medical reports. After selecting 2 clues, tap Find Connections to see if there is indeed a connection. Hey! We can. According to their medical reports, the patients had abnormal pain and diarrhea, which is consistent with the symptoms of insecticide 330 poisoning.
那就可以肯定，本案并不是普通的食物中毒案了。
Then we can be sure that this isn't a simple food poisoning case. Exactly. Insecticides 330 is a potent pesticide. If it were deliberately used in a restaurant, there's no way this case of food poisoning was caused by negligence. A hazardous chemical was intentionally used. It's a criminal act. Mr. Green didn't ask his employees to buy insecticide 330, so who bought it and who put it in the water? If the culprit was in the restaurant, they must have left fingerprints or some other traces. This is how you find connections between clues. Solve the new dilemma by finding another connection. So, can we identify the perpetrator based on the fingerprints we found in the museum? Oh my god, restaurant. So, there were fingerprints on the dispenser and the smart lock. I'm imagining the cases are going to get a lot more complicated over time,
抽水
but
器的表面与内部滤芯周围都有提取到指纹，其中有4枚与门锁内录入的信息相符。
I lifted some fingerprints from both the dispenser's surface and its internal filter. 4 of them match the database.
最早的一枚来自10年前，应该是门锁刚安装时就录入的，不出意外，属于方圆本人。
The earliest is from 10 years ago. It's likely whoever installed the lock, so Mr. Green himself.
还有2枚指纹，分别是在3年前和1年前录入的。
There's 2 other fingerprints that were registered 3 years and 1 year ago.
根据薛欣然告诉我的员工信息看，这2枚指纹是属于餐厅员工的。
According to what Winnie told us about the restaurant staff, these 2 likely belong to them.
第4枚指纹，录入时间是6年前，暂时想不到会属于谁。
A 4th fingerprint was registered 6 years ago, but I have no clue who it belongs to. Maybe a former employee?
这个可能可以排除。门锁里有清理权限的记录，离职员工的指纹应该都被清理掉。
We can rule out that possibility. There are records of entry deletion, so I'm assuming fingerprints of former employees were removed.
但我在另一件证物上发现了一个指纹，与门锁中的第4个指纹一致。你猜是哪件证物？
But on a certain piece of evidence, I found a fingerprint that matches the 4th fingerprint in the smart locks database. Care to hazard a guess? The receipt for insecticide 330.
没错，而且抽水器内部的滤芯附近也出现过这枚指纹。
That's right. This fingerprint also appears near the water's dispenser's filter. Now we know for sure that someone not employed by the restaurant was recently here. They must be the one who placed insecticide into the water dispenser. Since they could unlock the front door, they must be close to Mr. Green. Someone who's close to him, but also has a conflict of interest with the restaurant. We'll have to ask Mr. Green for that answer.
我觉得，就凭目前我们获得的证据去找方先生，
I
不
don't
能
think...
问出有效的信息。
Sorry. I don't think he'll talk with the evidence we currently have on hand. You mean Mr. Green is deliberately trying to shield the suspect?
没错，
That's right. Why do you think that? Did you find some evidence?
一般这种水桶的清洗工作，都是在供应商回收水桶之后进行的。
You. Oh, right. Sorry, I had to get my drink then. Because you know when you get like a bit of saliva stuck in your throat? Ugh, the worst. Usually, water tanks are cleaned by the supplier after they receive an empty tank.
但餐厅中留下的案发当日盛装山泉水的水桶，却被清洗得十分干净，圣水、指纹，全部都没有留下。
However, the tanks of spring water in the restaurant from the day of the incident have been wiped clean. Not a drop or a print to be found.
此外，在酒柜边沿发现的药粉，经过初步化验是无害的虫沙林，但却被清理掉了。
Additionally, the powder found along the wine cabinet tested to be the non-toxic bug out, but it was also cleaned up. The restaurant likely uses bug out on a regular basis. Could the staff have cleaned it up by accident?
在一家发生了食物中毒案的餐厅里，没有老板的授意，一般员工是不敢这么做的。
In a restaurant where food poisoning occurred, the staff normally wouldn't dare to do so without explicit orders.
甚至我猜测，这些消除证据的行为，是方先生在得知投毒人的身份后亲自来做的。
My guess is that Mr. Green cleaned up the evidence after learning the suspect's identity. If that's the case, then Mr. Green must have a long history with our culprit. Why would Vernon want to protect someone who is clearly out to damage the restaurant? You and Luke can't wrap your heads around it. You hear footsteps suddenly coming down from upstairs. It's Winnie. Her eyes are swollen and red from crying. When your eyes meet, Winnie stops in her tracks. She opens her mouth as if wanting to say something, but before she can speak, Vernon calls out from upstairs.
欣然呐，我的药放在哪儿了？
Winnie, have you seen my medicine?
风爷爷，你别动，我来给你拿。
Stay where you are, Grandpa Vern. I'll get it for you now. Winnie glances at you again before going back upstairs. What's Mr. Green trying to hide?
既然他自己不愿意说，又没阻止我们调查，那就由我们自己来找出真相吧。
If he's unwilling to tell us the truth, then it's up to us to find it out ourselves. We should start on the poisoner's identity. They've had access to the restaurant for 6 years, so we'll likely find clues to their identity somewhere here.
而且投毒人与餐厅是有利害冲突的，在餐厅的经营信息中也可能留有相关线索，比如账册之类的。
Right. Also, the suspect has a conflict of interest with the restaurant, so maybe we can find something in the restaurant's operational records.
我们再把1楼搜查一下，实在找不到的话，就只能当面询问方先生了。
Let's comb through the restaurant one more time. If we really can't find anything, we'll have to confront Mr. Green about it. Oh, speaking of a conflict of interest, I just thought of... You and Luke lock eyes and he immediately knows what you're thinking, as if you two are of one mind.
你的意思是，美味咖？
You don't mean deli cart. Yeah, boy. I will admit, Luke is like growing on me like very scarily quick. Penny's comfort foods. Let's go. You and Luke have determined that the suspect is someone closely related to Vernon and has a conflict of interest with the restaurant. You suddenly think of Pedro, the man that Winnie had argued with. Vernon had rejected his sales offers multiple times, or several times, which constitutes a conflict of interest.
难道会和我调查的另一个案子有关吗？
Could this case be related to another one I'm working on? Another case? I'm talking about Pedro, the sales manager for Delicart. Winnie told me about him back at the law firm. Winnie didn't tell you about him? Or is there something more to this?
美味咖拿到了合印资本的投资，正在计划上市。你听说过吗？
Delicart received investment funds from Pax Capital and is planning to go public. Did you hear about that? Yeah, I did. I also heard that many smaller financial institutions are following suit.
没错，这些金融机构中的一家委托我对美味咖进行信用和背景调查。
Yep. One of them hired me to perform credit and background checks on Delicart.
在调查过程中，我发现美味咖这家公司除了养了一批水军做假数据之外，还涉嫌使用非法手段获利。
During my investigation, I found that Delicart not only hired a bunch of paid posters to write fake reviews, but they are also suspected of making money through illegal means. What? Delicart's just a food review app. What's their goal?
原本我也不理解，但结合这次的事故，我想我可能找到调查方向了。
I don't know either, but this case might have given me a lead.
点评 APP 市场竞争者众多，美味咖虽然能维持正常经营，却还远远达不到上市的盈利要求。
There's a lot of competition in the review app market. Although Delicart can remain afloat, its revenues are nowhere near high enough to go public.
但如果平台上的餐厅出现经营事故，那么美味咖独有的高价公关服务就有用武之地了。
But if an accident occurred at one of their clients' restaurants, Delicart's premium PR services would then become useful. You're saying that Delicart intentionally sabotages its clients? Like review bombing a restaurant to force its owner to purchase Delicart's premium service to save their restaurant's reputation?
这只是我结合2个委托推测出来的结果，目前还没有证据。
This is just my hypothesis based on these two cases, and I don't have any hard evidence yet. I don't think this is what private detectives do nowadays.
不然呢？难道去调查明星隐私或是捉奸？你快饶了我吧！
What else? You think I'd be invading some celebrity's privacy or digging into affairs? Give me a break. You said it, not me. I thought private detectives were all about solving cold cases. Pedro happens to be a Delicart employee, so you might be right. Let's see if we can find some evidence here. Okay, so we're back to investigating. Now, first thing I want to check is the computer. Because if there's going to be anything that has records, I'd think the computer immediately. You access the computer on the checkout counter to check the restaurant's account logs. The expenditures look normal. Most of the costs are towards ingredients in Delicart's monthly membership fee. Expenditures for supporting underprivileged students are also recorded.
美味咖给餐厅刷差评，方先生却没有停缴会员费吗？
Delicart review bombed his place, but Mr. Green still pays their membership fee? He's been a member since March of last year. Huh? Luke, look. Pedro's name is here. You find Pedro's name among the list of underprivileged students that Vernon had supported. Oh, Vernon used to send him $300 every month. Pedro was one of the students that Mr. Green had helped? The records show that Vernon had supported Pedro for a long time. Payments stopped in June of last year, around the time when Pedro would have graduated from college.
能看到卢海洋的收款账号吗？
Do you see Pedro's bank account number anywhere? Yes, the last 4 digits match the account number on the insecticide 330 receipt.
这样一来，卢海洋就有重大嫌疑了。
In that case, Pedro's extremely suspicious. Interesting. I also want to look at the book. I haven't seen a handwritten customer feedback book in a long time. Winnie said the restaurant got review bombed on Delicart once Mr. Green had turned down Pedro's offer. The positive feedback in this book is proof that Delicart hires ghostwriters to write negative reviews.
这些手写的好评，每一条都充满了诚意，看得出方先生的手艺是真的很受欢迎。
You can feel the sincerity behind each written comment. This place is truly loved. There's a leaflet tucked between the pages. It's a quote from Delicart on their premium services.
在原有价格的基础上，有手写的折扣价，还附带了一张卢海洋的名片。
There's a handwritten discount offer. Pedro's business card is also attached.
看来，美味咖确实向方先生推销过公关服务。
Looks like Delicart tried to sell their premium services to Mr. Green. The essential oil ran out. I can't tell what kind of oil was used. Not the priority right now, me. Oh, wait, what's up there? Oh, camera! There's a security camera. Why did I not see that? Luke notices a CCTV camera high in the corner near the entrance.
看上去那个摄像头是损坏的。我把它拆下来检查一下。
It looks like the camera is damaged. I'll get it down so we can inspect it. The camera is high up near the ceiling. Luke stacks 2 chairs on top of each other before climbing up. However, they appear shaky and unsafe. I'll steady the chairs for you. Be careful.
放心，我动作很快的。
Don't worry, I'll be done in a flash. Luke's movements are nimble. He swiftly detaches the camera from its wall mount. Only once Luke's feet are back on the floor do you relax. Your neck is sore from looking up. Yeah, the lens is completely shattered. The lens is shattered. The camera's not in an easily accessible location, so how did this happen?
看碎裂状况，应该是硬物撞击导致的。
Judging from the cracks, it was hit by a blunt force. It's possible that the culprit tried to break it after discovering it. Okay.
WiFi 信号器坏了，监控无法联网。
The Wi-Fi receiver's broken too. There's no online capacity. It wouldn't have helped us anyway. Surveillance footage is usually kept on the cloud for only 14 days. Any videos from the incident are probably gone now.
监控应该是被硬物砸过，弹出器坏掉，记忆卡拿不出来。
The camera must have been hit by a hard object. The memory card slot's damaged, so I can't eject it.
不过简单修理一下的话，应该能把记忆卡取出来。
But after some simple repairs, we should be able to remove the memory card. Nice. Damaged security camera. Excellent. Okay, what else do we need to investigate then? Oh, the photo. I think I tried clicking on that photo earlier. Oh, was that Vernon's wife? Mr. Green's pretty amazing. He was the champion of last year's Stella's angling competition.
照片里的方先生，看上去是个很开朗的人。
He looks so cheerful
可他
and...
现在
Sorry. He looks so cheerful in this picture, but now... This incident caused this restaurant to close down. Of course he'd be upset.
说到钓鱼，我记得你一直都很喜欢海鲜的，现在也是吗？
Speaking of fishing, I remember that you used to love seafood. How about now? Of course I do. Arguably even more now. Seafood's low in fat, so I don't have to worry about gaining weight.
胖一点挺好啊，我倒是觉得你一直都太瘦了。
A little fat's good for you. You always feel too skinny to me. Okay, Luke, you have just gotten bonus points because I am not a thin girl. I am on the chub side, so being called too skinny is excellent. No way, I just bought a new dress. Yeah, because priorities. Me. Okay, nothing here, so the last part's got to be here. Oh. Okay, how the hell was I supposed to see that on the bookshelf? Is this photo of Mr. Green's family? While searching the bookshelf, you come across a picture frame hidden among the recipes. Oh. You remove the photo to see if there is a date on the back, but you find another photo wedged behind the photo frame. Oh god, chocolate on me. It's Pedro.
照片上有时间，2028年3月。
The photo's dated
照片
March.
是前年拍摄的。
The photo's dated March 2028. It was taken 2 years ago. Why would Pedro's photo be with Mr. Green's family photo?
以方先生的年龄看，他如果有儿子，也远比卢海洋要大。
Judging by Mr. Green's age, his son should be much older than Pedro. We'll have to ask Mr. Green about it then. Mr. Green was quite handsome back in his prime, but now he seems a bit haggard. I hope this blows over so he can get back on his feet. Is this Mr. Green's son?
薛欣然来找我时介绍过方先生的家庭状况，他没提到方先生有儿子。
When Winnie hired me, she told me about Mr. Green's current situation. She didn't mention that he had a son. She's only been in Stellus for a month. It's understandable that she doesn't know everything about his family. I feel like the boy in the photo seems familiar.
眼熟，会是你最近见过的人吗？
Familiar? Could you have met him recently? I really can't remember. This must be Mr. Green's wife, Penny. She's beautiful.
与方先生这么紧密地靠在一起，应该就是方太太了。
It's gotta be her. I mean, they look extremely close with each other. Her smile's so gentle. She must have been a kind-hearted person. It's such a pity. Who does the guy in the middle look like? I feel like... So just like her, I feel like I recognize him, but I might be just going Delulu. After going through the scene again, you now have a clearer picture of the person responsible for the food poisoning incident. Now we're sure Delicart, or rather Pedro, tried to market premium services to Mr. Green. However, we can't implicate him with only a receipt. He could argue that he dropped it in the restaurant after the incident.
但如果监控拍到他在案发前来过呢？
What if the surveillance camera caught him in here before the incident occurred?
那他就很难洗清嫌疑了。
It'd be hard for him to argue his way out of that. But the camera...
经过我的初步判断，这个东西是可以修好的。工具我包里就有现成的。
Oh, I had a look. It can be easily fixed, and I have all the tools I need right here. That's amazing. Wouldn't expect anything less from my Sherlock.
等着看我大显身手吧。
Oh my god, he is so cheesy. Sit back and watch the magic happen. Luke pulls out all sorts of gadgets from his pockets. Before he can start, Vernon comes downstairs with Winnie's assistance.
不必修了，监控是我自己弄坏的。
You can save your efforts. I broke the camera myself. Vernon was the one who did it? But who is he protecting? Is he protecting Pedro because he technically sponsored him? That would make no sense. I don't know. A couple is picking this restaurant, the restaurant's Camilla's, for selfies. Seeing this almost made Vernon's heart disease flare up. Okay, right, cool. We have got a debate. Let's get this sorted then. I think I'm gonna skip this bit. I'll be right back. Okay, right. I'm getting better with the debate. It's taken some time to get used to, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I'll get my head around it eventually. Mr. Green, You and Luke are both supplied by Vernon's sudden confession that he was the one who broke the CCTV camera.
方先生，你是不是早就知道了？餐厅的食物中毒事故实际是有人投毒。
I'm gonna feel like we're about to get a really sad story here. Mr. Green, you knew from the start that the food poisoning incident was deliberately caused by someone, didn't you?
而投毒的人就是卢海洋。
And that someone is none other than Pedro. Vernon walks to a table and sits down without saying a word.
方爷爷，这都什么时候了？您为什么还要包庇那个忘恩负义的混蛋？
Grandpa Vern, why are you still trying to protect that ungrateful scum?
俗话说，生米恩，斗米仇。您就是对他太好了，他才会得寸进尺。
You've been too kind to him. You give him an inch and he takes a mile.
薛女士，方先生告诉了你什么？
Winnie, what did Mr. Green tell you? Winnie silently looks at Vernon with an irate expression on her face, then turns away, biting her lip. Other than a long sigh, Vernon shows no sign of wanting to tell you the truth. His strange behaviour reminds you of the family photo and Pedro's photo on the bookshelf. That's it! Pedro's the one who looks like the boy in the photo! Could that be the reason why Mr. Green's hiding the truth? Mr. Green, forgive me if what I'm about to say is too personal. We had found photos of your family and Pedro on the bookshelf. Are you protecting him because he resembles your son? Vernon looks up at you in surprise, and then he lets out another long sigh.
你是怎么知道的？
How did you know? You hand Vernon the photo you found on the bookshelf. The boy in this photo is your son?
是的，他是我和清平唯一的孩子，
Yeah.
方轩。
Yes, he was our only child, Peter. What happened?
27年前，轩轩18岁，考上了他梦寐以求的未名大学，闹着要自己出去旅游庆祝一下。
27 years ago, Peter was 18. He had just been accepted to Stelis University, his dream school. He wanted to celebrate by going on a trip.
本来是件高兴的事儿，可谁知，旅游巴士在邻省的盘山路上出了车祸，他就再也没回来。
It was a happy occasion, but there was a car accident. Peter never returned.
我和清平会资助贫困学生，也是因为想念儿子。看着那些努力学习的孩子，就好像轩轩的大学梦在他们身上延续。
Penny and I started helping impoverished students to cope with our loss. It feels like Peter's dream of university lives on through them and their hard work.
可尽管如此，清平还是在这个打击下一病不起。过了2年，也弃我而去了。
However, Penny never recovered from our son's death. She passed away 2 years later. I'm so sorry, Mr. Green.
清平很喜欢做菜，她留下了一本菜谱。于是我就辞职开了这家餐馆，想让更多的人尝到清平的独门菜肴。
Penny loved to cook and left behind a recipe book. I quit my job and opened this restaurant so people can enjoy her cooking.
海洋原本是来我店里打工的，他想一边打工一边自学考大学。
Pedro was a part-timer here. He wanted to work while studying for college.
他和轩轩本就很像，我看他每晚下班后还在厨房里读书，就忍不住想帮帮他，让他过得不要那么辛苦。
He really reminded me of Peter. Every night I saw him studying in the kitchen after work. I couldn't help but want to give him a hand.
他对我来说，真的和其他受资助的学生不一样。
To me, he's different from all the other students I sponsored.
当年的卢海洋，应该是个正直努力的好青年吧？
Sounds like the Pedro back then was a good and honest person.
那当然，海洋会做出投毒的事，真的不怪他，都是那家黑心公司逼他的。
Of course, it's not his fault that he poisoned the water. Delicart forced him to do it. Delicart forced him? How do you know?
这就要从去年他入职那家公司说起了。
It all began when he started working for that company last year.
方爷爷，你帮帮我，我要被开除了。
Grandpa Vern, you gotta help me. They're gonna fire me.
孩子，你这是怎么了？
Pedro, what happened to you? Pedro kneels before Vernon, bitterly sobbing. His cheeks are swollen and purple palm prints are visible on his skin. He was obviously beaten.
你快起来，是谁打的你？我这就去报警。
Who did this to you? I'll call the police right now.
不要报警，是我自己打的。
No, don't call the cops. I did this to myself.
自己打的？你为什么？
To yourself? Why would you?
我完不成公司的业绩指标，这个月差了50万，就要当着全组人的面打自己50个耳光。
I was $70,000 away from my monthly target, so I had to slap myself 50 times in front of my team.
公司说，这叫知耻而后勇。如果打得不中，还要被扣工资，说是知错不改，不求上进。
The company called it a motivation boost. If I didn't slap myself hard enough, they were going to reduce my salary for not reflecting my mistakes.
岂有此理！ 你们公司这么做是犯法的。
That's ridiculous. It's illegal for your company to do this.
海洋，你赶紧去辞职，咱们告他。
Pedro, sue right now. We'll sue them.
方爷爷，我不能辞职啊！你是不知道现在工作有多难找。我好不容易大学毕业了，总不能再去给人卖苦力。
Grandpa Vern, I can't quit. You don't know how hard it is to find a job right now. I finally graduated from college. I can't go back to doing manual labor.
我前面几份工作都没干长久，再辞职的话，不会再有公司要我了。
I didn't last long in my previous jobs. If I quit again, no one's gonna hire me.
我不想回老家，不想回那个穷山沟，我想留在城里。
I don't want to go back to my hometown, not that backwater place. I want to stay in the city. What Delicart did was absolutely illegal. He should have listened to you and resigned and then sued them.
海洋是穷怕了，一心想出人头地，我理解。我当时被他吓到了，只想着尽力帮帮他。
Pedro was afraid of poverty, so he wanted to advance his career. I understand that. I was shocked at the time and just wanted to help him.
他说，让我买美味咖的会员，1个月2000块钱。我同意了，全当是接着资助他了。
He asked me to purchase Delicart's membership at $300 a month. I agreed and considered it as continued support for him.
但这只是一个开始，对吗？卢海洋还在不断向您推销各种收费服务，比如高级会员。
That was just the beginning, wasn't it? Pedro started pushing you to spend more money on things like their premium membership.
没错，而且实话实说，他们的高级会员1个月3万块，广告位就更贵了，我是真的买不起。
That's right. Their premium membership is $4,500 a month. Jesus Christ. That's more than what I earn in 2 months. And advertising is even more expensive. I really can't afford it.
我的拒绝加大了海洋的业绩压力，他也是因此才走上歪路，变得不择手段。
My refusal put more pressure on him to meet his sales target. This pushed him down the crooked path.
归根到底，这都是美味咖的错。刷差评、雇佣闲散人员闹事是他们的常用伎俩。我隔壁的餐厅就遇到过。
This is all Delicart's fault. Their go-to tactics are review bombing and hiring people to stir up trouble. The restaurant next door fell victim to this. How come the restaurant's owners never teamed up to file a lawsuit together?
我们没证据呀，而且据说美味咖还挺有势力的，网上的人都向着美味咖，我也只能眼睁睁看着海洋和他们学坏。
We have no evidence. Word has it that Delicart has powerful backers. Everyone online is on their side, and I could only watch as Pedro learned their evil ways.
其实食品安全局的人走后，我就知道事情是海洋做的了。但是
To tell you the truth, by the time the Food Safety Bureau left, I knew it was Pedro who did it. But
所以您才会清洗水桶，打扫餐厅里残留的无毒药物，甚至毁坏监控。这一切都是为了保护卢海洋。
that's why you washed the tanks, cleaned up the insecticide, and even destroyed the CCTV camera. All of this was to protect him.
但您为什么那么肯定作案人就是卢海洋呢？
How are you so sure it was Pedro?
方爷爷，如果您放过卢海洋，那餐厅就会留下食物中毒的案底，肯定无法继续经营了呀。
Grandpa Vern, if you let Pedro get off easy, your restaurant will be driven out of business because of this incident.
那方奶奶留下的私房菜，就真的没人能吃到了呀。
Then no one can enjoy Granny Penny's food.
我不是没想过把事情揭发出来，但我不想让海洋坐牢。
I had considered bringing this matter to light, but I don't want Pedro to go to jail.
他还年轻，只是一时糊涂。可要是坐牢的话，他这一辈子就毁了呀。
He's just young and naive. If he goes to jail, his whole life would be ruined.
可方先生，让卢海洋浪子回头的根本方法，难道不是让美味咖受到法律的制裁吗？
Mr. Green, the only way to set him back on the right path is to put Delicart to justice. Don't you agree?
卢海洋的投毒案是揭开美味咖经营黑幕的突破口，只要卢海洋能指证，
This poisoning case can be the first step in unraveling Delicart's crimes, as long as Pedro can testify against them.
年轻人，你不懂，我何尝没这样想过？但那家公司，咱们惹不起呀。
You don't get it. I've thought of that, but we can't afford to mess with that company. You didn't stop us from investigating, though. A part of you wants the truth to come out, doesn't it? If Pedro's willing to cooperate, I can defend him in court.
姑娘，你其实是律师吧？我早就看出来了。你隐瞒身份，是因为欣然和你说我不喜欢律师吧？
Miss, you're a lawyer, aren't you? I realized it a while ago. You hid your identity probably because Winnie told you I didn't like lawyers. You didn't even realize what you said until right now. I'm sorry, Mr. Green.
其实，我并不抵触找律师，我只是怕律师抓到海洋的把柄。
Actually, I'm not against hiring a lawyer. I'm only afraid that Pedro will get in trouble.
我原本想，餐厅已经收拾干净了，你们也查不出什么了。如果能让欣然死心，或者我能少赔点钱，那也是个好事儿。
I thought that nothing would turn up in your investigation since I cleaned everything. If it'd give Winnie peace of mind or lower the compensation payout, that'd be enough.
是我低估你们了，也低估了欣然的执着。
I underestimated your abilities and Winnie's persistence.
刚才我在楼上把事情的原委告诉了欣然，她也劝了我半天。
I told Winnie everything while we were upstairs. She tried to change my mind, but...
我知道你们都是为我好，但我真的不忍心海洋他，所以，我还是决定不请律师了。你们回去吧。
I know you're all doing this for me, but I really can't bear the thought of Pedro in prison. I'm sorry, but you should head back. Vernon turns around and starts going upstairs. You open your mouth to say something when the restaurant door suddenly swings open. Who would be here at this time? You look toward the front door and... Oh, it's fucking Pedro, isn't it? It's Pedro. Oh, Pedro, your fucking timing, man. Ugh. Why are you here? Upon seeing you and Luke inside with Winnie and Vernon, Pedro freezes for a moment, but then he sneers.
老头儿，你就算找律师又能怎么样啊？对方找的可是咱们这儿排第一的巴德尔律所。
Old man, what can you do even with a lawyer? You're up against Bowler, the best of the best.
你赢不了的，还是把钱省下来买我的公关服务吧。
You can't win. Why not save yourself some money and buy the premium services from me?
方爷爷，你看到了吧？他根本就是执迷不悟。
See, Grandpa Vern, he's completely gone off the deep end. Pedro? Vernon is not in good health. Worried that Pedro might become rowdy, you start to step in between the two. However, Luke places a hand on your arm and gently squeezes it.
别着急，
Don't rush. He winks at you and flashes something from his pocket, a recording pen. Does he think Pedro may get emotional and reveal the truth about everything?
海洋，你为什么就不肯辞职呢？你知不知道你做的那些事是犯法的呀？
Pedro, why don't you resign? You ought to know that what you did was against the law.
犯法？我犯什么法了？你们有证据吗？
Against the law? Which law did I break? Do you have any evidence? Of course we do. What happened at this restaurant wasn't a food poisoning accident, but a case of deliberate contamination. We found a receipt showing that you bought a toxic insecticide. What do you think about that? Pedro sees the evidence you and Luke collected on the table behind you, and his expression immediately changes.
行啊，老头儿，你长本事了。除了婆婆妈妈的说教，还会制造假证据了。
You've got some nerve, old man. Aside from lecturing me endlessly, you're also forging evidence.
表面上一副为我好的嘴脸，背地里却为了给自己脱罪栽赃我，你也太伪善了。
What a two-faced geezer. You say you care about me, and now you're pulling this crap? What a hypocrite.
卢海洋，你凭什么说方爷爷伪善？他从没做过对不起你的事。
Pedro, how dare you call Grandpa Vern a hypocrite? What did he ever do to you?
放屁！他当然对不起我。
Cut the crap, like you don't know.
要不是因为我和他儿子长得像，他会鼓动我考大学，让我留在魏明市吗？他知道外来人在魏明市生活有多难吗？
If I didn't look like his dead son, he wouldn't have encouraged me to go to college and stay in Stellus. Does he know how hard it is to relocate to and survive here?
不要说买房安家了，在这个竞争激烈的超级大城市里，挣出房租饭费就已经让人精疲力尽了。
Forget buying a house and settling down. I can barely earn enough to cover rent and food in this hyper-competitive city. I do understand that. I get it.
是他把这份负担强加给我的，他就该负责。
He forced me into this situation, so he should be held responsible.
再说了，当爹的给儿子钱支持儿子的事业，不是理所当然的吗？
Besides, isn't it natural for a father to give his son money to support his career?
你简直不可理喻。
You're truly beyond reason.
我让他买我们公司的服务，明明是个双赢的事。他能扩大经营，我能完成业绩，何乐不为？
I'm being equatable. If he buys my company's services, he can promote his business, and I can reach my target. What's unfair about this?
可他就为了沽名钓誉，非要拿钱去资助那群穷学生。你们看看，现在他出事儿了，他资助过的学生有人管他吗？
But he'd rather play the hero and throw his money at bottom feeder students. Look at where that got him. Do you see any of those students helping him now?
除了一个还指望着他上大学的薛欣然，那群白眼狼全都躲得远远的。这就是伪善的报应。
Not a single one, except you. But you're only here because you need his money to get through college. This is karma for him being a hypocrite.
怎么样？还是买我们公司的公关服务吧。有了你这一大单，我就能完成这个月的业绩指标了。
How about it? Buy our premium PR service, and I can hit my target. Everyone is shocked by Pedro's shamelessness. Vernon stares incredulously at Pedro, deeply wounded by his words. Grandpa Vern! The quiet restaurant is suddenly filled with the sound of Vernon's rapid breathing. He clutches his chest and kneels in pain. You and Luke move to check on Vernon, but Pedro suddenly makes a beeline for the evidence on the table. Luke swiftly seizes his wrist.
你松手！
Ow! Let go of me! Pedro's face pales from the pain. Unable to free himself from Luke's grip, Pedro swings his free fist toward Luke. Luke blocks the hit and twists Pedro's wrist. Pedro screams as Luke locks his arms behind his back. Luke pins Pedro down with an expression as merciless as a sharpened blade.
卢海洋，不要妄想毁灭证据。
Pedro Brooks, do not attempt to destroy evidence.
如果你能证明你的一切作为都是公司逼迫你的，并且当个污点证人，没准法官还能少判你2年。
If you admit your guilt and testify about Delicart's crimes, you'll likely receive a reduced sentence. You were concerned about work and rent, right? You won't have to worry about those things in prison.
你们，
You people!
我告诉你们，我们公司背后可是恒毅集团，那不是你们惹得起的。识相的就快放了我！
I'm warning you, the Pax Group has our backs. You don't want to mess with us. So what if the Pax Group's owned by the wealthy Hagens? I'm going to assume I pronounced that right. Their money means nothing before the law. Justice is blind. I'll be defending Mr. Green in court, and I'll take this case to the Supreme Court if I have to, even against the Pax Group.
放了他吧。我同意授权你们出庭。我就当没资助过他。
Let him go. I'll hire you as my defense attorney. I'm cutting all ties with him.
这么做。
You can't do that. Luke drags Pedro to the door and shoves him outside.
不要再来骚扰方先生，你不会想知道后果的。
Don't come here and harass Mr. Green again. You don't want to know what will happen if you do. Luke closes the door and briefly interacts with a smart lock, deleting Pedro's fingerprints from its database. Intimidated by Luke, Pedro picks himself up and scurries away. Mr. Green, should we call an ambulance for you? Winnie gave Vernon his emergency medication, but you're still worried.
我没事儿。委托协议书呢？拿来吧，我签。
I'm okay. Give me the agreement. I'll sign it right now.
小伙子，你说的对，让那家黑心公司付出代价，
Oh,
才是让海洋醒悟的最好方法。
you were right. The best way to help Pedro is to bring that evil company to justice.
我之前总顾虑那家公司有背景，现在看来，我活了一把年纪，还不如这个姑娘有勇气。
I was too apprehensive about their background. I'm this old, and yet I can't compare to the courage of this young lady. You're too kind.
您说的没错，他是我见过最正直的律师，一定能帮您赢下官司的。
You're right. You won't find a lawyer more virtuous than her. She'll definitely win the case for you. After Vernon signs the representation agreement, you and Luke decide to repair the CCTV camera and look at Luke's office so Vernon can rest. You feel reassured knowing that Winnie is taking care of Vernon. Audio recording of Pedro's confession obtained. Mr. Green, we'll take our leave now. Leaving the restaurant, Luke says that his office is in the same house that his parents left him, which isn't too far from Penny's comfort food. It's better to walk the short distance rather than hailing a taxi and getting stuck in traffic. Oh, this is cute!
怎么一直看着我？
Oh, I actually quite like the little animations. This is cute. Why are you staring at me like that? I haven't seen you in ages. There's a lot I want to tell you. I don't know where to start.
我也是。
Same here.
没见到你的时候，我其实一直记挂着你。这些年有太多经历都想分享给你。
When I was gone, I always thought of you. There was so much I wanted to share with you.
可等见了面，却忽然觉得，只要你一切都好，很多话就不必出口了。
But now that we're reunited, I feel like there's no need for words as long as you're all right. Don't keep everything to yourself. I want to know.
那可就说来话长了，至少能说上3天3夜。
It's gonna be a long, long, long story.
大律师，你的行程排得开吗？
Do you have a spot for me in your schedule, Miss Attorney? Luke, when did you come back? Why didn't you come see me?
哦，那个，我是上周才。
I only got back last week. The truth.
好吧，我回来有段时间了。
Fine, I've been back for a little while.
之前一直在忙一个紧急委托，所以才没抽出时间去找你。
I was busy working on an urgent case, so I didn't have time to find you.
你这比比划划的，是在量我的身高吗？
Your hands. Are you measuring my height? Of course, I want to see how much taller you've grown. How come you get to keep growing past 20? You're probably at least 180 centimeters now. Okay, right, hold on a minute. Mim doesn't use centimeters, I use feet. So, centimeters into feet. I need to know how tall this man is for science. So, he's at least 120. So, wait, that's not right, is it? Oh, okay, so it's saying he's 2.62 foot. That is definitely not correct. Oh, wait, I put 80, that's why. Now, if I put the 1, like, you know... Okay, so he's at least 5'9". Okay. Right, well, I'm 5'2". So, yeah, he ticks the height.
我们分开的时候我才16啊，当然会长高。
I was only 16 when I left. Of course I'd grow taller.
现在嘛，刚刚好1米8。
I'm
怎么样
180.
大律师还满意吗？
I'm 180 on the dot. How do you like that? You still have that key.
当然，这可是你送我的。
Of course, you gave it to me. Compared to before, your skin is
晒黑了，对不对？
tanned now, right?
你知道的，我一直很想要小麦色的，太白了总被说不够阳刚。
You know how I always wanted to be tan. I hated being called pale. I get called pale and I take that as a compliment because it means that I am committing to my jobs and I am not going out in the sun. Because I don't tan, I cook. Like if I'm out in the sun for more than 30 minutes without sunscreen or like sun cream, I turn into a lobster. Like, you can actually probably see it a little bit on my chest, like what I mean. Let's see. There you go. So that here is my natural skin tone, and then this is when I've been out exposed in the sun. Yeah, not a fan. I was actually going to say that you're still as pale as ever. Haven't you been doing lab experiments all these years? How do you tan in a lab?
你就顺着我的话说不行吗？不要揭穿我呀。
Would it kill you to play along? Calling me out like this?
我的事务所就在前面，快到了。
We're almost there. My agency is just up ahead. This will be my first time in a detective's office. Looking forward to it, Detective Pierce.
保证不会让你失望。
I promise not to disappoint. Oh, this is lovely. You and Luke chat and laugh all the way to his office. However, the sign in front of you... Luke, this 3-story building is your house, right? What is this Times Antiques? Shouldn't it be something like Pierce Private Investigations? Did you rent out the first floor?
托某些不争气同行的福，总有人误会私家侦探和狗仔差不多。客户直接上门的话，被熟人看到会很尴尬。
Thanks to some zealous detectives, people sometimes mistake us for paparazzi. Most clients don't want to be seen visiting a private investigator.
所以我就开了一家古物店来做掩饰，也方便社交。啊，侦探事务所在2楼。
So I opened an antique shop as a cover to facilitate business. My office is on the 2nd floor. So that's it. That's actually really fucking smart. Initially, you thought that the storefront was only a cover. However, after entering the shop, you feel as if you stepped into another world. Oh my goodness. The shop isn't large, but it's filled with all sorts of antiques from different time periods. A striking clock faces towards you. A golden magpie perches on a branch, the beating of its wings synchronized with the clock's movements. A wooden music box on an adjacent shelf is playing Clair de Lune by Claude Debussy. When you draw closer, you catch a whiff of sandalwood. A beautifully carved kerosene lamp, complete comic set, and a brass table lamp inspired by biblical stories. It's as if you've traveled back in time from the current year, 2030.
怎么样？我的古物店很棒吧？虽然还算不上是古董，但上个世纪的东西也有独特的年代韵味。
How do you like it here? Pretty impressive, isn't it? They may not be true antiques, but items from the last century have a certain charm to them. This is all your collection?
也不算是收藏吧，有的会自己留下，有的呀会给他们找到合适的主人。
In a sense. I might keep some, but I'm safeguarding the others until their true owners discover them.
这里的每一件事物都代表着一段独一无二的回忆，自然也会有不同的归宿。
Each item contains its own unique memories. They have a storied past and a future waiting ahead. Luke walks to the counter. With a press of a button, the ordinary counter morphs into a high-tech workstation. This must be the youngest item in the shop.
等我10分钟，保证能把记忆卡取出来。
Give
不
me
信
10.
的话，你可以计时啊。
Give me 10 minutes to get the memory card out. You can even time me. Okay, then starting from now.
你耍赖，我工具还没拿出来呢。
That's cheating. I haven't even got my tools out yet. Your exaggerated motions of starting a timer on your phone urge Luke to hastily break out his toolbox from underneath the workstation. Okay. Luke is silent as he concentrates on the task at hand. This reminds you of him studying in the library for a competition all those years ago. The Luke before you is no longer the excitable and impulsive youth from your memories. He has grown into a mature and reliable man. Is Hoyoverse trying to sell Luke to me because it's working? Is this the result of 8 years worth of study? You suddenly feel a bit sad that you two miss so much of each other's lives.
叔叔阿姨还好吗？回来之后还没来得及去看他们呢。
How are your parents? I haven't had time to visit them since I came back. When I was in university, Mom and Dad were recruited as researchers to a secret research project, like you. Luke's hand abruptly pulls.
封闭实验？
Secret research project? Yeah, no contact with the outside world allowed. They still regularly send me holiday postcards and money, though. I don't know when they'll return, but they're both research fanatics. I think they'll be fine. Luke seems relieved after hearing you say this, and he resumes with his work.
那就好。如果有机会联系到他们，就告诉他们我回卫明市来了。
That's good. If you have the chance, tell them that I'm back in Stelis.
让他们不要担心，我会照顾你的。
Let them know that they have nothing to worry about, because I'll take care of you. Wow, you're such an adult now. You sure aren't planning to stir up some trouble? I used to always get scolded because you dragged me into one thing or another.
喂喂，不要提这件事。
Oh, come on, that's all in the past. Oh god, I clicked off the game by accident. Whoopsie.
喏，监控修好了，看看用了多久吧。
Alright, mission accomplished. How long did it take? 7.5 minutes. You're amazing.
说到做到。
I don't falsely advertise. You take the memory card from Luke and insert it into your tablet. The surveillance footage shows the restaurant's front door.
根据方远先生的描述，卢海洋作案时间只能是在周五早上6点半到8点之间，那时候店里没人。
According to Mr. Green, Pedro could have only poisoned the water between 6:30 and 8 a.m. when no one was in. You fast forward to the target time frame and play at double speed. Sure enough, Pedro appears on the video. There he is! He entered the restaurant at 7:28 a.m. and left the restaurant at 7:43 a.m. That's more than enough time to commit the crime. In the video, you see Pedro putting his hand into a bulging pocket, which most likely holds the insecticide 330. However, due to the angle of the camera, the surveillance footage doesn't show Pedro actually committing the crime. Okay. The video captured not only Pedro, but the worker who delivered the tank of spring water, as well as Vernon and his caretaker leaving from and returning to the restaurant. The last part of the video shows Vernon destroying the CCTV camera after the Food Safety Bureau's staff had left.
方先生应该是在事故鉴定有结论后，想到美味咖的惯用手段和卢海洋的业绩压力，于是心生怀疑。
Mr. Green must have suspected Pedro's involvement due to Delicart's track record and his pressure to meet his target. He's probably not familiar with technology or only remembered the memory card was still inside after breaking it.
而且，他并不清楚卢海洋的具体作案手法，以为只是简单的往水桶里撒药，不然也不会留下这么多线索给我们了。
Also, he didn't know details about the crime. He probably thought Pedro put the insecticide only into the water tank, which must be why we found so many clues. We collected quite a bit of evidence today. I'll need to organize it all for use in court on Wednesday.
我来帮你一起整理吧。
Let me help you with that. You can now visit Luke. Okay, what does that mean? The visit feature has been unlocked. Let's check it out. Let's do so. So home. Phone. On this map of Stelis, you see all the characters you can visit. Unlock more by progressing through the main story. For now, let's first visit Luke. You can interact with a character here to increase his character affection and read his personal story. Hey! Speak of the devil, I was just thinking about you. Oh, you fucking softie. Earn affection from Luke by swiping across him or playing games with him. Every day you can earn up to 1,000 affections across all visits. So, 1,000 affection across all visits. So that's going to include all the other characters then, presumably. The remaining affection you can earn today is shown here. Blossom chapter? Progress through a character's personal story by increasing your affection with them. Don't forget to visit. Let's continue with the main story. Okay. Right, I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely was not expecting it to take this long. So I'm gonna leave this episode here, but we are very close to the end of chapter 1. So I'm probably gonna split this into 2 parts. So we have like the trial in episode 4. But I've been really enjoying the game. And as I mentioned earlier, I am gonna be changing the language for chapter 2. So we're gonna do chapter 2 in one language, and we'll do another one in chapter 3. And then once I've had a bit of a time to figure out which ones I like, then we'll decide what language we're going to play the game in going forward. But thank you guys so much for watching. It's been really nice reading your comments and like catching up with what you guys think of the game as well, and how long you've been playing and your story with the game, because this is like the second Otome game I've ever played, so this is definitely a very big step outside of my comfort zone from loving Deepspace. But the fact that you guys are enjoying it as much as I am playing it is really, really good to see. So we are going to be keeping this game on the roster. But on that note, I am going to go ahead and carry on with the main story in the next episode. So I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.